Who am I here with?
My name's Aaron Mustaine.
Gotcha, Aaron. And that's spelled Aaron?
Yes, sir.
I got you, Aaron. So Aaron, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Woody, it's in Bakersfield, but it's like 60 miles out. It's a really small community. I went to a one-room schoolhouse with 8 other kids, kindergarten through 8th grade. And it was great. I had a really nice grandma. And I had a good childhood. My grandma died of cancer when I was about 13 years old.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And my mom ended up taking me, my brother, and my sister up to Lake Isabella, and we had a lot of trouble. We ended up getting our house red flagged, and we ended up homeless on the streets around 16.
What does red flag mean?
It means the house was deemed unfit to live in.
Okay.
The electricity and water got shut off, so we had to move out.
Gotcha.
And so I ended up homeless at 16, and I ended up on heroin. And I did heroin since I was 16 years old. And it got worse and worse to the point where I ended up going to jail. I ended up in prison in 2019. I was about 23 years old. I'm 30 years old now.
Man, you look young still.
Thank you. And when I went to prison, I decided to get sober. And I went to a program called MCRP. And I got sober, and I paroled with a full-time job as a machine operator. And I was doing great. I was making money. I bought a Jaguar, and everything was going great. And I ended up relapsing again. And right now, I just enrolled in a rehab, and everything's feeling better. My mom just died actually.
Damn.
On Easter.
Sorry to hear that, man.
And she left me with a house up in Boston. So I have a house now, and everything's starting to do better. And I'm getting sober. I've been in and out of jail my whole life, and right now I'm just feeling pretty good about it. So I got a girl in my life, her name's Brianna, and hopefully I'll make contact with her when I get out. And my mom left me with a truck and a house, and I finally have my own place. So everything's coming back together, but I've been to prison twice.
Okay.
State GP, and yeah, it's been rough, but everything's looking up. And, I pray to God every day.
That's good, man. So Aaron, you talked about like being as young as 16-year-old, like hop on heroin.
Heroin.
How do you even like get into that? Find out about heroin.
Well,
and was that the first like drug that you went to?
I started with marijuana, Then one day I remember my best friend's house, my childhood friends, right? And we're all sitting around the table at 16.
Mm-hmm.
All my closest friends are sitting around the table, passing around a foil of heroin. And you think you can trust your best friends if they're doing it. You're like, oh, I'll try it. And then it was a downward spiral from there. Until I met my best friend, her name's Brianna Smith. We were on the streets, homeless, on the streets for years, and she was always there for me, right? And she's always been there for me, even though it was just the best friend. And I finally have a place for us to go. I finally have a house, And we spent years on the streets. Like last night I slept on the streets because I just got out of jail.
Gotcha.
I actually went straight to probation. I signed up for probation, and I'm currently going to a program called treatment court, where I'm staying sober and trying to get a bed in rehab too.
That's good, man. So you mentioned jail a few times. Well, when's the first time you got locked up, and what age was that?
I was 18 years old.
And what was it for?
If I'm not mistaken, it was just for possession of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And
how long you do?
I did not even a couple months, but it slowly gets worse and worse and worse to the point. Right now, when I go to jail, if I do, they're coming at me with 16 months doubled up to 32 months, 80%. And that's the low term. They go 2 years doubled up to 6 years doubled up.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I got blessed by God to get a chance to actually just go get out and be sober. And they're actually, I just nearly got to prison term. I've been to prison twice. My first prison term was for first degree burglary.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Brianna were in a house. We were squatting in a house, and we just we just went up in the house. No one lived there, and something got stolen, and her and I got caught for first degree burglary. She got caught, so I went and turned myself in. And I took the charge for her, and I got a strike for her. So now I have a strike on my record.
Damn.
But I do it again.
Yeah.
My cousin before. And I mean, without her, I'd still be getting high.
Gotcha. And were you under the influence and stuff whenever you did the burglary?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Gotcha, man. So what about the second time?
Second time was for Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
And I was out in the streets one night, and I was walking miles and miles and miles, and I noticed a truck with no back windshield and had a popped ignition, and like an idiot, I just hopped in, and I was gone, and I got caught that day, hours later, and I fought it for 8 months, trying to say, here's my truck, and I ended up getting 16 months, doubled up, 13 months at 80%.
Yeah, man. Okay, so when you like got locked up for the first time, or even the second time, so the first time, what was going through your head at that moment?
Second time?
The first time.
First time? Well, first thing was in my head was, okay, I went to jail on a misdemeanor warrant for 1 week, and when I got out, everyone was like, Brianna in jail. Her nickname's Slim. My name's Slim. And they were like, Slim's in jail. And I couldn't believe I was in denial, so I actually went back to the house that was the scene of the crime, looking for it, out of my mind on drugs. And at that moment, everything kind of fell into place, because I was like, wow, my girl's actually sober in jail, and I just had to have a place for her to go and stuff. So I actually got a full-time job, and I picked her up. I remember one of the happiest days ever. I drove up to her mom's house in a car that I owned, and I picked her up and I took her home with me, and we both ended up relapsing, and that's usually how it goes. Right now, I'm sober, and I'm trying to help her get sober.
All right, man. I'm glad that you sober. Hey, are you aware of that, like, of this fentanyl crap, and how like dang near everything is cut with fentanyl?
Yeah. I've been being opiates for over 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But 14 years. So I was 16, and I died off it. I took it in one hit. It's where I went to my room, and I remember thinking, like, don't resuscitate. You know, I didn't tell him that, but I thought it. He's my twin brother. And we have telepathy. You know, like, when I'm thinking, he knows it. When I went to my room, I took a hit. I injected it, and I woke up to him putting Narcan in my nose, and that actually hurts. And instantly puts you in a withdrawal, and you get cold, and it hurts. And I died.
Damn, how was that death experience? You know, that near-death experience.
Well, one of them was my first. One time I was in Oldell, and this guy was hanging out with this girl. I noticed the girl was young, right? She was about 16, and I was instantly like, "What's up with that?" You know? And I'm looking out for this girl, and it was Angel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to say that it was Brianna, you know, so he had an excuse, and I was like, "Nah, that's messed up." And I left. This fool chased me down and hit me in the head with a lead pipe. Cracked my elbow socket in 13 places, fractured my jaw, and I was on the ground. I went back a second, and I woke on the ground, and everything was real weird after that. I thought I was hearing voices from the concussion, and it's almost like people were responding back, but it's hard to, like, the longest time, I thought I was like becoming telepathic almost. I know that sounds crazy, that's for you guys to believe or not, if you believe in telepathy or not. There's no way I could ever prove it. You know, there's no way in science to prove it. I went to the doctor and trained to him, and they said something about like causing auditory and visual hallucinations on people. And yeah, it was crazy. I remember that guy. I asked that guy, "Please don't take all my money," and he left me with $80 after he robbed me. He left me with $80. and I walked to the hospital. It's the same County Hospital, and they were like, everything was weird after that. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like I went to hell. Like, it was pretty heavily religious almost. And I couldn't even recognize my own family. I felt like everyone was behind me. And I couldn't believe that happened. My mom picked me up, and everything was just weird after that. And for years, I swear I was messing with my head back. But one day, it just all snapped together, and I realized these voices I was hearing weren't exactly voices. And I was actually holding some kind of conversation with somebody. And within the last year, I realized it was something else. I can't really describe it, but it's something to do with telepathy.
I got you, man.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So Aaron, as of now, and since then, how has your journey like been? Your sober journey been? How much days you got clean?
How many days do I have clean?
About
About 4 days.
48?
4 days.
4 days?
I was usually in jail.
And
First thing I did was I went and got a script of Suboxone. That's Suboxone saves lives. If any of you guys are out there on fentanyl, you can go to any hospital and get Suboxone, and you can get clean off of it. I know you can quit cold turkey, but it really helped. It changed the whole game for me, because it's the first time in a long time where I wasn't. When you're on opiates, the first thing you wake up to is thinking about it. The last thing you think about when you go to bed is getting the next time. With this medication, it helps a lot. So I would highly recommend it for anyone that's struggling with that. At least give that a shot.
Gotcha.
Because it completely takes away that whole mindset. And it's nice to get, it's nice to get prescribed by a doctor, and to not be going to a drug dealer, to go to a nurse or a pharmacy and actually get someone to help you.
Okay, Aaron. So, what have you personally have done? Any steps you've taken to get off the streets?
Well, my mom, we were homeless for years. I was homeless at 16. I remember we were so homeless to the point where the only time I saw my mom was once in a while on the public bus. And we were all couch hopping, right? And a friend of mine took me in. I was 16, right? And my Uncle Jerry hired me to work in his hydroponic grow room, and he grew crops. And I remember being homeless at 16 and how much people wanted to help me then, And this was right before I started using. And like I would dabble with heroin, but I would really just smoke weed. As I got older, it got worse and worse and worse until the point where it changes your whole life. It's not the right kind of life. This is what it's about. I made this. I made this in jail, actually.
Nice, man. You said that, so you're not like completely like homeless. You do have a place to stay and rest your head, right?
Yeah, my mom. God bless her heart. She left me while I was in jail. I guess we had a house, right? Because we were homeless, but when I was 21, my mom randomly called me out of the blue, and she was like, "I got a house. Come home. I'm so sorry. Come home." And we had that house ever since. And, I guess while I was in jail, my brother was in jail too. And my sister was in the psychiatric ward. And the funeral was on Saturday. And my family told me, "Hey, your mom sold the house, but she bought you a house in Dogfish. And it's all mine." And she left me with a truck, a $5,000 truck, and Harley Davidson motorcycle. And I finally have some resources. And all I can think of is that it'd be a perfect time to get sober. And if I mess up, if I relapse, I go to prison. I already signed for it. They're allowing me to, as long as I stay sober and keep going to these classes, I won't go back to prison.
That's good, man. That's good, Aaron. Okay, so let's take it back. I know you said you was being raised by your grandma.
Yeah.
Um, and that your childhood, like, it was a pretty good childhood. You had a loving, like, grandma. Um, would you say though that some of the like the choices, friends that like you made and things you done may have been stemmed from like at like a young age, maybe not like having like the most out of life per se. Like you may have everything you need, but like some people kind of think that at a young age they kind of had it like tough growing up, so it kind of like influenced a lot of decisions and friends growing up.
I had a silver spoon in my mouth growing up.
Oh, okay, nice.
Like, well, my grandma was on food stamps,
but so what you saying, like you have a silver spoon in your mouth growing up, so you had it good. What made you and everything like steer down the wrong path?
Well, I was raised with my grandma. My mom, when we were little, she gave us to our grandma because it was for the best. My mom was 20 years old when I was born. She was young. My grandma raised us, but at one point when I was around 7th grade, 8 years old, 9 years old, my mom just randomly decided to take us to my grandma because she had custody the whole time. We were living with my grandma, and within a month we were in foster care. And my mom instantly got sober, got a full-time job, and actually got outside of the system.
Nice.
And my grandma got custody, and my mom slowly got custody, right? And it was great until 13. My grandma got pancreatic cancer, stage 4, and it was real rough watching. I mean, I was a grandma's boy. I slept in her bed till I was 7 years old, right? And it was definitely traumatic, right? I didn't have a connection with my mom, and I tried to get it there, but I met these friends in high school, and we were all just kids. We smoked pot, we played video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one day I go up to my friend's house, and all of a sudden they're all doing heroin, right? And these are my best friends, and I trusted them, right?
Mm.
But that's how it usually goes. Someone you call a best friend will offer you something that will destroy your life. That's exactly what happened.
So Aaron, based off what you just said right now, what's like something that you learned and stuff from like your past decisions, past friends, and just a little piece of advice and everything that like you would give your younger self and everything if you could?
Well, one thing is when you have a real friend, like for example, Brianna, right? She's been there for so long, and just because she's down the wrong path, people say you gotta let go of friends, but you really don't. You just gotta grab onto them harder and try to. If you really care about someone, don't give up on them. They might drag you down. Sometimes there's people in life that they need you. Maybe you deserve better from them.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely deserve and need you to help them. So don't exactly give up on them. You have friends and family out there that are struggling with drugs. They need a hug. They need to be pulled in closer. Don't ever push them away. Any kids out there? I know kids. I know kids that are 10 years old. In the streets, in this dope game. I know kids that were pimped out at 6 years old. My own girl was raised to be like a prostitute. I mean, not necessarily, but that's what it seemed like, right? And you'd be surprised how dark this world can be. I know a 12-year-old girl with herpes because her dad fucking gave it to her. And I know that they're in foster care now, thank God. But the 12-year-old had herpes, so they were picking out the 10-year-old, right? And when it comes to things like that, this world's dark, man. And like horrible shit like that happens. So sometimes in life, you might have to look past the big picture. You might see a happy family, but sometimes there's some really dark shit in this kind of game, in this world, So, and if you ever have a chance to help someone like that, that's what I spend a lot of time doing, is actually helping kids like that. Because most people wouldn't know what to do. They panic, right? And when you get to the situation in life where you're like, is it okay to give a kid Suboxone? I asked social workers that. And they were like, no, it's illegal, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what if there's a kid out there strung out on fentanyl? and their parents got them strung out on purpose to keep them doing what they need to do or what they wanted them to. So I just want to put it out there, like, any kids watching at home in that kind of lifestyle, all you got to do is go to the fire station and say, my life ain't right. And foster care is actually really cool. If you want to meet some kids that you can relate to in that kind of lifestyle, you'll meet them in foster care. You'll finally get that family. Even if you run away, you'll have that family to go back to that will always care about you. Those foster families are cool. I got out of foster family, but like, don't justify it. If your parents aren't being good parents and you know it and you justify it for them, you'll always have your parents, but doesn't mean you shouldn't get a real set of parents. Any of the homegirls out there watching, I'll put you guys on the map. I'll watch your blog. What was your blog called?
It's called Live from the Field. It's all one word together.
All right, this is what's your name again?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. And the YouTube channel is called Live from the Field. Check it out. It sounds really good. I'm gonna check it out later when I go home.
I appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you for the interview. Have a good one, man. God bless.